Am I the asshole for asking my mom where is her money contribution to my wedding? I'll admit the title does sound bad. I got married to my husband 2 months ago. We saved up for a beautiful big wedding but decided on a small intimate option. On Friday we had a small intimate ribbon ceremony with a marriage officer, and on Saturday we had a beautiful lunch at a farm-to-table restaurant. In total Friday came to $3,000 and Saturday came to around $10,000. We were completely happy with that because it was a fraction of what we had saved. Before the wedding we made it clear that we didn't want gifts or anyone to pay for themselves, but my mother, who I had only recently started talking to 2 months prior to the wedding after going NC for a long time, decided to basically demand that we tell everyone to give us money for the wedding. We did not and ignored her. 2 days before the wedding my Phil gave us $3,000. We didn't want to take it, but he literally put it in my husband's hand and walked away. He does the same thing on my birthday as I always refuse. On the Saturday at lunch when we had all finished eating and we had cut our wedding cake, Phil disappeared and went to pay for all the drinks. So we paid the bill and my mom shouted at us for leaving a tip, which is ironic because she's a waitress. Reason being is that there was already a 15% service fee because of the amount of people, but we still tipped. Mill had gone up to one of our servers and got a copy of the bill. She sent my husband the amount of half the bill. Mill also got us our wedding cake. My dad gave us $2,000 and we got $1,000 from my grandma and $1,000 from his grandma. Safe to say no one listened, but we were still so grateful and made sure to thank everyone. Issue is my mom had gone behind my back and told everyone that they had to contribute because we couldn't afford the wedding. We later spoke to everyone about it and they knew it was nonsense and said they were going to give us the money either way. All of them knew where we stood financially because we were very open about it. Had we paid completely by ourselves we would still come way under our wedding budget that we saved. After talking to everyone I went to my mom and asked why she went behind my back and demanded people give us money, and all she could say was how disappointed she was that they all skimped and gave you so little. So I turned around and asked where was her money contribution to the wedding, and it better be thousands the way she's carrying on. This made her angry and she called me a selfish $tch and an asshole. She's been harassing me over text to apologize, but I don't even want to talk to her. My dad said I should apologize to keep the peace. They're no longer together. I only asked her where her wedding money was so she would leave me alone. I'm not mad that she didn't give me money. I'm mad that she demanded everyone else give us money and belittled them on the amounts they gifted us, but wouldn't even pay for her 2 friends that she invited without talking to us first. AITA? Should I apologize? Edit. So no one gets the wrong idea. I do not tally up money gifts and compare them. I included amounts in this post because my mother belittled people for how little they gave when in reality everyone was so incredibly generous despite us not even wanting gifts, and the only reason she knew the amounts was because she made it a point to go and ask everyone what they gave us. I did not personally discuss what everyone gave us. Edit. I apologize for not replying to everyone's comments. But I have read all of them and appreciate the advice and the time everyone took to make a comment. I just want to point out that I thought the format looked fantastic when I was typing it out on my phone. But now, looking at it, I must agree that it's terrible and doesn't resemble how it looked while typing it out. For those asking why I went to NC and saying I should go NC again, I have been considering it for a while. I initially went NC because she was a raging abusive alcoholic, and when I decided to reach out again, it was because she was given a year to live, cirrhosis, liver failure. Unfortunately not surprising considering I have never known her sober. The doctor said it could be less time because her drains are everyday now. I broke the NC, hoping she would be a better person in general, but now she's just raging and abusive. I do want to go NC, but I'm worried that will make me an AH, so I'm stuck between my own peace or doing the right thing and forgiving her, all her friends. Not the asshole. And for your future benefit, it may be worth thinking about going NC with her again. Not the asshole. Your mother sounds exhausting and I'm sorry. She goes behind your back and against your wishes, makes a big deal about where the money comes from and how much it is, but also invites her friends, doesn't pay for them, makes a stink about everything, then has the nerve to still be outraged and offended when you call her out on her BS. I guess she's usually happy spending other people's money for them. AITA for calling her out. I'm glad everyone she pestered hasn't had a problem with it, or at least aren't blaming you for your mother's actions. Not the asshole, and time to go NC again. Not the asshole, I can see why you went NC. I'd like to know why in the world you'd reconnect when clearly she seems unhinged. AITAH for cutting utilities off on my roommate? I, 26F. Want my roommate, 23F, to move out immediately due to threatening me by having company that makes me uncomfortable and having a friend who is not on the lease, despite me saying I do not want this person living with us rent-free. I want to start by saying my roommate is on the lease. Therefore, I cannot legally kick her out. She has every legal right to stay in our apartment for the next 2 months when our lease ends. However, she is starting to make me feel unsafe and my mental health has spiraled into a dark corner of anxiety and fear. 1 year ago my roommate and her girlfriend hurt me in a way that I don't want to forgive. They have traumatized me, lied to me, all while my roommate struggles to maintain stable employment or not employed at all. She is currently unemployed and not looking. My roommate covers what we call basic rent, meaning she pays her portion of the rent and nothing else. However, when we moved in together, she went on a long argument with me about how I need to distribute our finances proportionally due to me making 3x income and having multiple college degrees. I agreed and we have been splitting the bills, proportionally every month. Meaning she pays no bills, groceries, or basic home things like shampoo, dish soap, etc. My roommate has made the living room her depression nest for the past year and I am tired of it. The living room and kitchen are filthy due to her art projects. She does art in the kitchen and does not clean up after herself. Her clothes and plates of leftover food are in our living room. Her papers, art supplies, and general junk are taking over the couch, coffee table, and kitchen island. Now, there is currently an entire human who is crashing on the couch for a few days, with no time of moving out any time soon. This person has explicitly told me they refuse to ever be employed for anarchist reasons that I did not want to ask about. I have been unable to use the living room couch, coffee table, or cook in a clean kitchen for almost a year and I am fed up. My roommate does not clean, nor pay. My roommate and I generally don't get along anymore. Often, she will take out her anger on me, speak to me with the most hostile tone, and overall talk to me like an idiot. I understand she has autism, but she is bringing company over that makes me uncomfortable, breaking boundaries we both agreed to, all while milking me for money and speaking to me in aggressive tones. Yesterday, I told her I wanted her to move out and we had a huge fight that ended with her not wanting to move out. Therefore, I cut off the power. AITA for starting to cut off utilities? Edit. I am currently not staying in my apartment. I do not have parents, nor a partner I can simply move in with, but my roommate has multiple, in my opinion, upgrades, options she can move in with. I am currently staying with a coworker. However, this is not a long-term option for me. I told my roommate I am not paying bills for a place I'm not staying at anymore. Not the asshole. You keep saying in your comments that you don't have any long-term options. But you do, duckling. You can find another place to rent. It's hard to let go of a place you liked, but I doubt your former roommate will let it go in a hurry. Look for other rentals and cut your losses. But for your initial question, if you aren't in the house using the utilities, then totally fine to end the agreement and force the people living there to sort themselves out. Not the asshole. But I suggest you move out ASAP. This story is the perfect setting for murder, she wrote. Info. Why can't you just move out? This method you're doing now sounds like a lot more hassle than it's worth. Not the asshole, but document everything and show the landlord, lady. Not the asshole, but is there some reason you want this apartment? Seems to me it would be easier to break the lease and get a new place just for you. Also, roommates do not split bills based on their respective incomes. It's not her business how much you make. Am I the asshole for having my niece at my kid-free wedding? I, 23, F got married 2 weeks ago with the love of my life Xander, 24, M. He proposed 8 months ago and we planned the wedding right away. I've always had the perfect wedding plan that I've had since I just knew that Xander was going to be the one I'm going to marry, so I talked to him about it and he loved it. After a while of meetings and calls we finally got it all sorted except for the invitation letters, and I brought up to him how kids are always just ruining things at weddings and asked him if I'd be an asshole if I didn't want kids there, and he agreed with me, and so we put no kids on the invitation. My sister had my loving niece 4 years ago, and that was the time that I had a miscarriage at 19 with Xander, and my sister has always let me be like a second mother for her, and that's how she sees me as too. So I decided to just have her there as a flower girl wearing a mini wedding dress of mine. So my wedding comes and everything was perfect during the ceremony. She did so great and did her part and just sat for the rest of the ceremony until we go to the venue, where I got confronted by my husband's auntie saying, "Why is that little girl here if it's a kid-free wedding?" I told her that she's like a daughter to me and I would never not include her at anything I do. I tried to walk away multiple times away from her and she started saying, "Well, I'm a mother too, so why couldn't I bring my sons? You're separating their mother from them. Her sons are 6 and 8 and they're the most entitled, spoiled little boys I've ever met." I blew up and I told her because it's my wedding and I wanted my niece to be here, not her sons. That's probably going to just start digging on the wedding cake even before we get to it, and she would just stare and not do anything. They did that at Xander's sister's wedding and she didn't do anything about it. She started going off at me if I'm calling her a bad mother, and I said yes because she raised entitled brats that needs manners. She started calling me names and just making a big scene at the venue until Xander's uncle dragged her out. By then I was already having a panic attack as I have very bad anxiety and went to the bathroom. My husband tried to get me out, but I just couldn't. I felt too humiliated and embarrassed to get out. And then I just hear my sister trying to get my niece to call me, and I just hear her say, "Mama, are you okay?" My niece calls me Mama and my sister Mommy. I don't know why, but my anxiety always just disappears when it comes to her. I calmed down and opened the door and she just hugged me right away. My sister said, "I knew she was the only one that can get you out." We went out and I just tried to enjoy the last moments that were there. None of the other moms were upset about the kid-free rule or my niece being there. They were actually glad that they get to go out without them. I honestly don't know if it was the right call to not having kids in my wedding, since it's Xander's family and I just feel like an asshole. So am I? Not the asshole. It is your wedding and you can invite whoever you want and who you're most comfortable, happy with. Your wedding, and your fiancé's, your rules. Congratulations, by the way. Not the asshole. It's ultimately your, and your husband's, decision who gets to go. The event is literally for you, so if exceptions are going to be made, it's for you. I don't think you should have escalated by calling her a bad mother though. Hopefully that doesn't cause any trouble down the line. I also wasn't the one talking to her, so maybe she absolutely did deserve that. You are the asshole. You don't want kids except one in particular because she's special. Everyone sucks here, your wedding, and you're entitled to your guest list. It wasn't her place to question why someone was there. However, you also advertised child-free, when it in actuality meant, "Only the children I want." You also could have easily just said, "Sorry. I only wanted my niece because I wanted a flower girl, and it's my wedding." You instead insulted her parenting and kid and made a scene. And then you cry about your anxiety that was caused by you making it a scene. I mean, I get some people can be rude. You're not forced to blow up when people are rude. Plus, you also seem to be 18, pregnant, and dying of cancer, so you should probably learn what a throwaway is. Not the asshole. Our wedding was child-free, but with a couple of exceptions for close family. At the end of the day, if anyone took issue with that, they didn't have to come. Auntie chose to make a massive scene at the wedding instead of simply discussing it after the fact if she felt slighted. She was rude. Also, the whole, "You're separating my children from their mum" defense is hilarious. Girl, it's one night, you'll all be fine. Am I the asshole for snapping at my boyfriend when his poor planning risked damaging my career? I recently got the opportunity to start a career in pet care, which is literally my dream job. I do it through an app where basically people see my profile and contact me if they want me to look after their pets. I've only recently started getting attention on there, but have only booked with 2 clients so far. With the way the app works, it's absolutely crucial that I do my best to get 5-star reviews from my clients, especially while starting out, as a bad review at this stage could really damage things, cause people to lose interest in my profile. I am also disabled and can't just take any job, so knowing that this is something I can actually do, it's a pretty big deal for me. A woman contacted me about dropping in on her dogs for half an hour while she was away for the day. I accepted and the booking was confirmed. The day it was booked for was a day that my boyfriend would be staying at my place all day. He lives in the next city, 1.5 hours away by public transport, so he can't come and go as he pleases. The booking was a 40 minutes walk away and was due to last 30 millines, so I'd be out of the house around 2 hours. BF doesn't really like being in my house on his own cuz he gets bored. So we agreed he'd come with me for the walk because he does like going on walks. The booking was set to start at 12 p.m. So I told boyfriend basically we'd have to get up at 10 a.m. at the very latest, get ready and go straight there, so make sure he had something in the house he could eat before we go because we wouldn't be able to get lunch till later. It gets to the night before the booking. We'd been shopping that evening and we were laying in bed when I realized he hadn't bought anything to eat the next morning and he wouldn't have time to cook something. There's also nowhere he could stop off on the route there to get something to take out. I mentioned this to him and he says he'll go out and get something while I'm getting ready in the morning. However, he doesn't get up until 10:30 the next day despite the alarm going off, so by the time we're ready he hasn't had time to get food. We start walking to the dog's house and he says, "Oh, we might have to go to this place to get some food." The place he's talking about is a detour and not the route to the house that I know, so I instantly start getting stressed about getting lost or being late. Bearing in mind, being late could result in a bad review, which like I said would be pretty damaging for me at this point. I tell him we don't have time and he'll just have to soldier on. He huffs and says, "Fine, I'll just suffer." I'm annoyed at this point. I tell him fine, we'll go, but this is poor planning on his part, especially after I warned him several times, and if that damages my career in any way I don't think I'll be able to forgive him. We did get there just in time in the end, still later than I would have liked though, as I felt rushed, and he also bought me my favorite biscuit from the food place, so I know he felt bad. Just wondering if I was too harsh on him? You are starting a job, you shouldn't have your boyfriend come with you, and if he does you shouldn't just say yes to whatever he says no matter how many tantrums he throws. It might be his poor planning, but you had your fault in it too. It's your job, your responsibility to put your foot down on whatever he says. Boyfriend needs to understand not to bother you while you work and needs to deal with his boredom if you're no there. You can't be expected to be together 24/7. Not the asshole. This is your job, so he needs to value that. It was poor planning. He knew what time you had to leave and be there but didn't care enough to better plan it out. At the very least, he could have walked you to the house then walked himself somewhere to pick up some food. It didn't sound like he was taking it very seriously, which is an asshole mindset when he knows it's important to you. Everyone sucks here, you were working. Why did you bring your boyfriend along? That's just very unprofessional and to a client's home, yeah? As a dog owner, my walker bringing some random human would be the end. He would have gotten over being at your place for 2 hours. His planning was no worse than yours. You chose to take him on your work walk. You agreed to the detour. At no point did he have a pew-pew to your head. Everyone sucks here but you less so. I'm a full-time pet sitter and we live and die by our schedules. Being on time is essential and his detour could have messed that all up. But you didn't have to agree to his detour. What else would he have done while you were at this client's house? Sat on his ass bored out of his mind? He could have walked you there, walked to the food place while you were working, then just met back up there? Disaster avoided. He shouldn't have risked your career, but you didn't need to snap at him for something that was also your decision. Leave him behind or plan your routes better.